This was the headline I heard on the radio this morning when I was going to work out. In a new report republished against the backdrop of intensifying Israeli military operations in Gaza City, the UN Independent International Commission of Inquiry on the Occupied Palestinian Territory, including East Jerusalem, and Israel urged Israel and all countries to fulfill their obligations under international law to end the genocide and to punish those responsible. The Commission finds that Israel is responsible for the commission of genocide in Gaza. Now, this is the Israeli ambassador's response to the UN in Geneva. Danny Marone dismissed the Commission's cherry-picked findings outright, maintaining that the 70-plus page report promotes a narrative serving Hamas and its supporters in attempting to delegitimize and demonize the state of Israel. Not new. That's a typical news report from Israel. There's a group of people accusing the Jewish people or the Israelis of some horrific thing, and there's a voice usually from Israel saying that's not accurate. If you haven't been in Fellowship Square lately, you need to go to Fellowship Square and read what's on the windows. It will give you a bit of a biblical grounding towards what I understand to be a biblical attitude towards the Jewish people. I'm honored to have friends in Israel. But let's start, Ronny, with Gaza. It's a little strip of land right along the Mediterranean. It belonged to Egypt for a long time. And after the 6 Day War, the Egyptians didn't want it back. They wanted their oil fields back, but they didn't want Gaza back. Maybe you give us just a brief history of Gaza, and then we'll get to who the government of Gaza is, because they elected Hamas. Hamas is a terrorist organization. The whole global community believes that. The United Nations believes that. Our State Department believes that. They believed it under both Republican and Democratic administrations, so it's not a political issue. Hamas is a terrorist organization, and the people in Gaza elected Hamas. Now, we could argue about how free the election was, but nonetheless, they chose them. Tell us a little bit about Gaza.
Well, the whole Arab League is considering Hamas as a terror organization. You can take a flag of Hamas and go downtown the streets of Washington, D.C. or Paris or London. Try to do that in Arab countries. You will not live for too long. They know exactly what's the problem with Hamas and how much this group is a danger, not just to Israel, but to the whole Arab countries in the area, and maybe to the whole globe. We thought it's something limited to a certain place. I think that we don't understand the issue is much bigger than just a small piece of property on the shores of the Mediterranean Sea. Because Hamas is fighting for world jihad. They don't care about Palestinian people. They don't care about nations. They do not care about their own people. They care about one thing: to kill the little Satan, that's us, and then to go after the big Satan, that's you. So if you thought that you are not connected against your will, you're very much connected. By the way, don't listen to me, listen to them. Whenever I'm sharing my views, opinions, seminars, I tell people, don't trust me. I cannot be totally objective, but you have the obligation as intelligent people to go and check for yourselves before you make an opinion, and too many people don't do that. The combination of zeal and ignorance, it's devastating, and that's what we see that happens. Regarding Gaza, the Gaza Strip was created in the aftermath of Israel's War of Independence. The Egyptians invaded Israel, coming to help their Palestinian brothers and sisters. Many refugees fled from Israel during the war. Many of them were basically Egyptians that wanted to go back to Egypt. The Egyptian army stopped them in the area of Gaza. They didn't want them back in Egypt proper because of the numbers of people, the terrible condition of Egypt. They stopped them from moving back to Egypt, creating an area that will be called the Gaza Strip, that was filled with 300,000 people in 1948. It was in the Egyptian hands until 1967. And for the Palestinians in Gaza, by the way, nobody called them Palestinians back then. These were Arabs who fled from Israel and were simply placed by the Egyptians in huge camps, if you wish, in the Gaza area. They could not travel. They did not have any education. They did not have any civil rights. They were not citizens of anybody. They were equipped with weapons and hatred, and Egypt used them as a tool to carry on the struggle against Israel. That's how the Gaza Strip was created. In 1967, Israel took Gaza from the Egyptians. Fasting forward to 1979, we made peace with Egypt. And while negotiating the peace agreement, we asked President Sadat of Egypt, "Sir, take Gaza with you. After all, you occupied Gaza for 19 years, 48 to 67. We're going to pull out from Sinai, give it back to you, Egypt, for peace. Take Gaza with you." The president smiled bitterly and said, No, I don't want Gaza back. You stick with Gaza. And sure enough, Gaza is our problem for the last few decades, and we ignored many aspects. We were deceived by the people in Gaza. We reached out for peace time after time after time. That's not propaganda. Every peace process in the region Israel initiated, always to be turned down by our neighbors. So Gaza became to be a central part of a group called Hamas, who were elected, all right? In elections, the people knew what they are voting for. By the way, I do, if I may, when you speak about ISIS, and I do this comparison for a reason. ISIS, as bad as they were, nobody thought to negotiate with ISIS, right? ISIS had to be destroyed, period. We speak about the same ideology. We speak about the same MO. We speak about the same thought, the same hatred. But ISIS took over places, conquered them. Hamas did not conquer Gaza. Hamas is a product of Gaza. Hamas is Gaza. People supported the ideology of Gaza, and Hamas represents the people. And I'm saying that because too many people try to make a distinction. Hamas is one thing, and the other innocent people of Gaza are something totally different. You should not include both of them in the same sentence. With all due respect, absolute nonsense. The world went to war against Nazi Germany, not the Nazi party. All right, the world went to war against Japan, and not just the samurais and the Bushido code and the emperor. You cannot distinguish Hamas from the people of Gaza. We speak about the same mentality, we speak about the same mindset, and the same deep hatred to everything which is not Muslim.
All right. What do you think about the hostages? Do you have hope they'll be released?
Well, 48 hostages Hamas still holds in their hands. It started with 251. We were able to release some with military operations. Some of them were killed in the process. We know for a fact now that the orders given to Hamas is when you see the first Israeli soldier in the neighborhood. You hear the first Israeli tank, before you will be killed, you put a bullet in the head of the hostage. We take it seriously, and that's the main limit that we put upon ourselves. We have an idea where they might be kept by Hamas. We're very careful not to operate in that specific area. Some would wonder how come it takes more than 2 years for Israel to get rid of Hamas. It's not are we capable, yes or no. We are fighting in 7 different fronts. The problem is the refugees. The hostages. It's very intimate. It's very personal. We are a small country. We all have friends and people who either are connected directly. We know their names by heart. We dream about them. These are our brothers and sisters. We want them back home. So right now the number is 48. About 20 of them, I wish that's the number, are confirmed to be alive. And how do we know? Because Hamas releases every now and then some short videos. It's the way to demoralize all of Israel. When you see those hostages, there is starvation in Gaza. The hostages are starving. It's part of psychological warfare. That will be the most painful issue. It's an important Jewish principle. You don't leave anybody behind. You do whatever you can to bring everybody home. As long as it will take, we will not spare any effort. Whatever needs to be done to bring our brothers and sisters back home.
Let's change locations. Israel's a small country. It's not much bigger than Middle Tennessee. But let's go to the West Bank. How many of you have heard of the West Bank? It means land on the west side of the Jordan River. And you've heard of the Palestinian people. Let me give you a quick history lesson. I know, history for dummies. I'm history for dummies, and he's history for professors. So there never was a country called Palestine. There was not a capital of Palestine. There wasn't a government of Palestine. It's never existed, not just in modern history, but in antiquity. There was a region in the Middle East called Palestine, in the same way we would talk about the southeastern United States. There's not a government of the Southeast or a capital of the Southeast. I mean, we might say it was Nashville, but the people in Alabama would object. But since they can't write, it's not a very powerful objection. I'm kidding. Go count your national championships and leave us alone. Palestine was a region in the same way that the southeastern United States is a region. And that region has been parceled out for a variety of reasons through history. For a long time, it belonged to the Ottoman Empire under Turkish control. But after World War I, the British were given the responsibility of Palestine. They had a mandate. And they took 78% or so of the region of Palestine. The border between the nation of Jordan and the nation of Israel today is the Jordan River. And so they took 78% of the region of Palestine and created the modern nation of Jordan. It was 1946, May of 1946. That left 22% of the region that had been Palestine. And in 1948, the UN made a proposal to put two nations on the west bank of the Jordan River. One would be Israel, and the other would have been Palestine. And the Muslim world rejected it. The Israelis said, the Jewish people said yes. And a war immediately broke out. All the surrounding nations attacked Israel. And when the war was done, the Jewish people held the land that the United Nations, for the most part, that the United Nations said they could have. The land that had been promised to the Palestinians for their nation was occupied by Jordan. And the Gaza Strip was occupied by Egypt. Nobody called it occupied territory. Nobody referred to the people who lived there as the Palestinian people. They were Jordanian and they had Jordanian passports. I have friends who had Jordanian passports. In 1967, after the Six-Day War, the Israelis found themselves in control of the property on the west bank of the Jordan River. They didn't drive the people out, but all of a sudden it became occupied territory. And from that day until this, that has been the point of debate. Now again, that's history for dummies, but there's some, when we hear the chant of from the river to the sea, that seems like a chic thing to say on some of our college campuses. To the people who live in Israel, it has a very significant meaning. Maybe we start with that. What's river to the sea mean to you, Ronny?
Did I miss something about Alabama? I'm not that, I know that Forrest Gump is coming from Alabama. That's good enough for me, huh? Run, Forrest. I'm sorry, Pastor. The question. From the river to the sea, I always kind of embarrassed when I watch all these YouTube segments and you see American youngsters, the best of this country, bright boys and girls that go to the best universities in the world, carrying those banners, and somebody approaches them and asks a very simple question: what is the river, what is the sea? In most cases, they don't have a clue. What I mean by that is the River Jordan on one side, the Mediterranean Sea on the other side. And these are the borders of the land that was known under the British as Palestine. Today, part of it is the state of Israel. The land of Israel was bigger because the land of Israel, where the tribes of Israel used to live once upon a time, part of it is in Jordanian territory today. So even the right term is important. So to speak about the river to the sea, when you do that, you do two main things. Number one, you're calling to free a people that you believe the land is theirs. At the very same sentence, you're called to kill all the people that live there today, which are the Jewish people. In one sentence, you're calling for genocide. In the same sentence, basically, you speak about freeing the land that was never really Palestinian. It sounds like an oxymoron, indeed it is. But to say from the river to the sea is a call for genocide. To be honest with you, if you can get in a conversation with somebody who is willing to have a conversation and you tell them what the sign means, they are willing to rethink it sometimes. In most cases, who would even care? We go to the protest because our bodies are going. There was a pile of signs, grab one and go scream and go yell. And if you happen to grab the one from the river to the sea, at least get to know what is it that you're talking about. So this is quite a catchy phrase, as of course you'll understand, and that's what it means, from the River Jordan to the Mediterranean Sea. I can put up a lot of nice slogans that will also be very attractive. Would you like to hear some? From the river to the Med, Palestine is already dead. How about that, huh? Oh, please, don't quote me. But you do understand how easy it is to deceive people, to try to convince people to rally for a cause they know nothing about. And let me tell you the real tragedy. American youngsters, European youngsters believe that they fight for human rights. Because that was the rap. It was sold to them by a very sophisticated machine of propaganda, of money from Qatar invested in your universities to brainwash these youngsters. They'll be very easily convinced to fight for human rights. So we're fighting for human rights and calling for the extermination of the Jewish people. How that works together? If you talk to people, they don't have an answer to that because they don't really know what is it that they are supporting when they chant from the river to the sea. Or globalize the Intifada. Globalize the Intifada, that's world chaos, that's anarchy, and it doesn't include just Israel. It speaks about the whole Western world.
Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, subscribe to the channel. You know the drill. Hit the bell for notifications. If you want to, leave a comment.